Hi, this is Paul Arnold, sometimes known as Stuttering Professor, explain why. And today I want to talk to you about a really important issue within our career, and that is this ability to construct a compelling argument. Because if you can, then actually you're more likely to sell that through the organization, you're more likely to get the resources you need, and so there's a greater likelihood of success. But the trouble is, we're also living in a time where actually there is a massive constraint upon time and upon resources. And there's that great phrase taken from an old Head and Shoulders campaign, there's never the second chance to make a first impression. So actually we've got to get it right first time. So in today's talk, I just want to talk about three fundamental things you do in actually trying to construct a compelling argument. The very first thing you've got to do is you've got to get your argument clear. Then you've got to structure it, and then you've got to deliver it. So the first thing is get your argument really clear. And one of the first things you've got to do is remember, keep it really simple. You know, less is absolutely more. Don't try to do too many things in one time. And we can learn a lot from the advertising business, because if you think about it, they only have 30 seconds in which to present a compelling proposition about their brand. So that's why I often go back to the creative brief is a very powerful, what we call as a selling brief. Because what you've got to do is you've got to have clarity about what is your objective you're trying to get from that meeting or that proposal you're trying to write. Who is your target audience you're trying to talk to? What is the insight behind them? What makes them tick? You know, what's going to be important for them to hear? Then what is your key selling proposition you're trying to get across? And again, keep it single-minded. And then what's your reasons to believe? What is the backup you need to give? And strange enough, as critical is the tonality, because it's as much about how you say it as what you say. Now, the very heart of a brief is what we call the task map. And this is like having the clarification about what do they currently think about this project you're working on? What do they currently feel about it? And what are they currently doing about it? And then what do you want them to think about it? What do you want them to feel about it? What do you want to do about it? And then basically your proposition is going to be that bridge that connects the two, that takes them from a place of thinking to a new place of thinking, a place of feeling to a new place of feeling, from a place of doing to a new place of doing. So actually that's the critical thing you've got to lock in to get your argument really clear. Now, a few other key points when you're putting your argument together is this idea about selling in what I call the presuppositions that inextricably lead to your proposition. So in other words, it's the old classic thing, you get a few yeses. Yes, that is true. Yes, that's true. Yes, that's true. Therefore, ipso facto, we've got to do what you're suggesting. So that's a very important thing. And then when you're giving your reasons to believe that, you know, the evidence, I really recommend you stick to as 2 or 3 or 4 at maximum irrefutable truths. Things that you can just not be challenged on. Because as soon as you give, oh, and there's these other things, what tends to happen there is you tend to find people can pick up the smaller ones and say, oh, well, that's not true, therefore you knock your whole house of cards down. So stick to the fundamentals. And I always want to come back to this key thing, which is this idea about getting a central point really locked in place. And I used to work with a very impressive man who actually went on to do fantastic things with lots of different companies. And you know, he was a very quiet man. He would sit in meetings, he would listen. But then what he'd then do is say, you know, the key issue is this. And I think that every time I did a pitch, whenever we went back to the client and we said, you know, the fundamental issue we're trying to do is this. And if you can get a reframe, then you just see the eyes in the other side of the room look around and say, oh my God, we didn't think about that. So I think really at the very core of your argument is the clarity about what is the issue you're really trying to get to. And to quote that lovely Einstein quote, if I had 1 hour to save the world, I'd spend the first 55 minutes defining what the issue is. and only then could I then actually work out what the solution is. So actually really spend time up front focusing and say, the key issue is this. Because once you've got them hooked on the key issue, the sell is much easier. Then you've got to structure it. So you've got the clarity of your argument together. Now you've got to structure it. And, you know, I really like a model that I learned from a guy called Ross Lovelock, which he used a model called Square. And I'd really recommend you look up the work he's been doing on that. And it's a very simple model, but actually underneath the simplicity lies a great, you know, ability to actually convince people. And he starts it with the situation. You say what the current situation is. Very unladen with actually problems. The situations our brand shows this, and then you go the consequences. The consequences, which in other words, the heart of the issue lies. The issue, the consequences are right now we have got costs spiraling out of control. And then you can then go to the key question. Now, this key issue. The fundamental root is the key question is how to ... And at that point, you can then got people hooked. And then you say, and the answer is this, boof. And then he then leaves the real evidence, let me give you the background to all this stuff at the back, because all too often people overcloud and want to share their clever thinking in advance. No, structure it to keep absolute clarity. I love the apocryphal story, I don't know if it's true, about how David Cameron, when he was in government, he used to structure his diary in 5-minute chunks. And basically, all of his ministers were encouraged to deliver what they were saying in very small size little chunks that helped him to have great clarity about what the issue, what the proposal was, to allow him to then actually make the massive qualities of decisions he had to make every single day. And the model I use is something which I call SIP. You know, think of it like you're at the water cooler and you bump into your boss and they say, how are things going? And you can just say, well, it's this, the situation, what the issue is, and what your proposal is. Because my experience is senior management hate waffle, like cut to the quick. That's what you've got to go and do. Then you've got to deliver it. So you've worked out what your argument is, you've structured it, now you've got to deliver it. And I think actually you've got to remember that, you know, we are fundamentally emotionally driven decision makers, even in business. And therefore what you need to do is to make what you're trying to say feel real and to bring it alive with a real experience. So in many ways, exactly like what happens in advertising, is how do you take your key proposition and dramatize it in a powerful, emotive, memorable way. I remember one time when I was trying to demonstrate something, I just got almost a sackload of M&Ms and I just tipped it out onto the table just to demonstrate what this was costing us. So there was a very powerful visualization of what I was trying to get through. So anyway, I hope that helps. So basically what you've got to do is get clarity over what your argument is, be very clear what it is, keep it very simple, structure it, and then deliver it. Anyway, I hope that helped. I run loads of workshops on this topic and many others, and if I can be of help, then please contact me. Details appear at the end of this video. Take care and have a good day.